Hello and welcome to Business Daily on Trust Television, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Let's start you off with some top stories in the business world.
That's great. You could see.
Sounds like you're disappointed with the current lot.
We are outside, me and you. Regardless, we could have done better.
That you don't have to sacrifice your conviction. We cannot settle for what is bad.
I sacked a governor because of misappropriating 300,000 naira.
The clamor by the SCS was a unitary form of government. This doesn't go well with Savannah. So when we said we wanted self-government for Nigerian entities, so look, count me out.
What you call goal, aims and directives. But the issue of joining politics simply because you want to be given job or to be given contract.
Removing the assumptions, the foundations of their fears, and at the end of it, each and every one of them seems disappointed.
I was posted to Guachuku. My job was to go from community to community, educating the people how to improve themselves. Government will come to help you.
Thanks for staying with us. Welcome back to Business Daily here on Trust Television. Now, NLC was supposed to have started a strike today, a proposed strike that got me personally running around the place trying to see how I would get myself put together in case it was, total and all out. But apparently that strike isn't holding, at least for the next 30 days. This is coming from the meeting that took place between the organized labor and the federal government. Now let's take a look at some of the memorandum of understanding that came out from that meeting. Of course, we know of the very popular one of the 35,000 naira wage award, but it's only to federal government workers beginning from the month of September, pending when the new minimum wage is expected to be signed into law. Now, what the new minimum wage is, we don't know. But following that, a minimum wage committee shall be inaugurated within 1 month of the date of this agreement. So hopefully before November 2nd, we're expecting to have a minimum wage committee set up to discuss further on how to increase minimum wage. And yesterday on the show, if you were with us, remember I talked about it with our guest, Wilson Agaba, who I asked, why is this wage award, this minimum wage, why does it just only, cover the federal government? Why doesn't it transcend down to both state level, both the private sector? And one of those memorandum of understanding down on one of the lists, say in number down, you see that federal government is saying that they're going to get the state government to, that is number 10 on the memorandum of understanding, if you see the document, to implement the wage award for their workers, and of course similar consideration to be given to local government and private sector workers. Now, my guest yesterday was speaking about how it's not possible to get to, private sector to do this. Why? Because of certain business incentives, business things that have to happen, and for them to be able to do this, government has to do this for them and all that. But that's what came out from the memorandum of understanding. But today, one of the key things that came out from it is the issue of the VAT diesel. And yes, we discussed it yesterday, but today I have with me an energy expert to delve further into it. We're going to be looking into the oil and gas sector, the VAT removal on diesel, and the signage of this gas production with an indigenous company due to the IPA. Joining me virtually is Mr. or rather engineer So we're having a bit of a challenge with the connection, but I'm sure we'll have him back soon. But while we're waiting for that to happen, let's get into what the oil and gas industry is about. Now, the industry is often divided into 3 segments. And I know you keep hearing upstream, midstream, downstream. But, even I, for one, was wondering what that is. But today we're going to learn that upstream is the business of oil and gas exploration and production. So you see the companies that are there, the oil companies where they are, the oil wells, the oil fields, that's upstream. Now, midstream is this transportation and storage, and I believe that is where our NNPCL would come in mostly. And of course, downstream, of course, we'll still include the NNPCL refining and marketing. Of course, that will now be where the filling stations and all that, they come into. And Nigeria is among the world's top 5 exporters of liquefied natural gas. And I know maybe for some of us, when we see some TV adverts, and maybe if you've been to Delta State, I have happened an opportunity to be Delta around Warri. I actually see this gas flaring, and this is something, it's one major source of income for us, and we are among 5 major world exporters of liquefied natural gas. But that one, of course, is not that one. That's not liquefied natural gas. Now, we're trying to see if we can get back with our guest, Mr. Sani. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, we're still trying to get with you. I'm glad that you can hear us, and hopefully the audio will get better as we further discuss. Now, Mr. Sani, I'm sure you've seen the memorandum of understanding that came out from the meeting, even before it came out yesterday, earlier in the day, or even 2 nights before, was already there about the VAT, removal of VAT on diesel, the 7.5% VAT on diesel for the next 6 months, starting from October, actually starting from this month. What, as an energy expert, how does this work? How does this, help generally the economy and equally the energy sector?
Well, I have not seen the memorandum of understanding, but it is sufficient that as every government does, you take there are some fiscal policies that you can introduce, which will help the economy by way of cushioning the effects of policies that you have introduced as a way of reducing the pressure, on the market. For instance, removing the VAT, that will have downward effects in terms of the price, meaning that the cost of the land
There seems to still be a network or connection problem over there with Mr. Sani. Hopefully we're working on it to get him across to speak more on the issue of the PIA and the VAT removal on diesel. We'll be right back. Please just stay tuned with us. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Still on Business Daily. Earlier we were speaking with Mr. Yabagisani, Engineer Yabagisani actually. He's an energy expert talking to us on the oil and gas industry. Engineer Sani, could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you so much. It's good to have you back. Thank you for your patience as well. So earlier you were talking about the issue of you were speaking on the VAT removal on diesel, how it affects the economy and the energy sector. Could you please run us by it again?
Yes, I said that in every economy, governments have a way of reducing the pressure of decisions, that taken by the government, because, like there are fiscal policies, there are monetary policies that run the economy of every nation. And what government has done is to look at the fiscal policy whereby you reduce or take away VAT completely. But in our own situation, it goes beyond the VAT. The reasons are that there are some structural issues that government has to address. The issue of supply, the issue of the logistics of the movement of the product, and the issue of the sourcing of the funds to import. This is why we always say that we always lament the unfortunate situation that the number 6 crude oil producer in the world, a supplier to exporter, cannot feed itself by refined products simply because we are so incompetent. We have left the issue of management of resources and then to the dogs, and this is why we are suffering. So yes, it's a welcome development, but then, like I said, beyond, you have the issue of the foreign exchange. That is the naira, the value of naira. That is something that the importers are paying. It's like the VAT is just like one aspect of it, which is not something that I don't know how it will immediately bring down the price of diesel in
when
the
we
economy.
calculate it,
So
actually,
the issue is that diesel, like is consumed by the productive sector of the economy.
Yeah.
That is the industries, the transportation industry, meaning that those who move goods, around the country, and those who produce, that is the real sector of the economy. So whatever government can do to boost the capacity, that is the production capacity of the real sector of the economy, is something that should be considered, so that we can begin to now grow our GDP. When you look at issue of the oil and gas sector itself, there are so many issues that are there. You have the issue of corruption, which is there. You have the issue of what have the hanky-pankies that are taking place at the import. For instance, we don't have working meters at the jetties. So you import this thing, it's the guesswork, what comes. So I think taking away VAT is a good thing, but some other dampers, some other ways by which we can improve the productivity of the economy itself, which is the real sector, should also be considered. So that areas like Mr. President is already doing with the SMEs, which I welcome, because SMEs contribute hugely, to the GDP of the economy. I mean, yes. In fact, they are the engine, they are the drivers of every economy. Well, if you can take care of your small scale industries and medium scale industries, your economy will perform. So doing what the government has done is a welcome development, but then there's a need to do more. There's a need for us to fast track how we can get to produce these, necessary input, that is the supply of energy. And the economy is as efficient as the efficiency of the supply of energy, source. I mean, the energy in that economy. So our economy will be in doldrum as long as we do not solve the problem of energy supply to the economy. And this is why the issue of AGO is so important. Like I say, I'll repeat myself, the real sector of the economy is the one that uses the AGO. The PMS, that is the petrol, is largely used by people who travel around, by the private sector, by commercial drivers and things like that.
Okay.
But
all right, engineer.
You need AGO.
Engineer, not to cut you. Now, I understand what you're saying, and actually, when we sit to calculate these things, if we're going to be buying a diesel of a liter of diesel at 1,000 naira, what 7.5% of 1,000 naira is just 75 naira. I know that that's quite an amount of money, considering that if you buy 10 liters, you'll be saving 750 naira. But the question I'm asking, when they take away the VAT, does that in any way, transcend to the retail price that the person buying from the pump machine at the filling station? Will it transcend? Will it show? Will it become, do you understand? Will it affect the pricing at the pumps? Or it's just for the businessman who's just buying off, NNPC?
It will be hardly felt by the consumer. End of the day, at the last mile. That is the man who buys from the pump. For the forecourt. Why? Because, like you have said, VAT is just 7%. 7% of 1,000 per liter is. Like you rightly said, about 70 naira or something like. How much is 70 naira today in this economy? So, but it's a symbolic, gesture by the government. They need to do more because there are logistics issues. There are structural issues in the economy that you have to address, and there's issue of how do we ensure that we have enough supply of dollars in this economy. Unfortunately, we have willfully damage the capacity, the fundamentals of this economy to be able to produce, this necessarily required, energy. I mean, the source of energy, which is the AGO. Domestically, we have, like here that Dangote refinery is coming and will only be producing diesel and the other white products, not PMS yet. But even at diesel level is good. Because perhaps, I don't know whether it will have a downward effect on the price of diesel. That is what we wait to see. And then they say Port Harcourt will also come on stream by December. December is already by the corner. So I hope those things are achieved. Those are the structural issues I'm talking about. It's not so much the fiscal policies. And to an extent, also the monetary policy, as the case may be. Because the monetary policy will be the exchange rate. Okay. The fiscal policy, things like VAT. Can government probably go further by saying the tax issue and how many people even pay taxes in this country? That is another issue. Otherwise, you can use tax breaks, tax incentives to now make the price to go down. Okay. But our tax regime is so, haphazard.
Yeah, we kind of looked into that in our show yesterday. Now, Engineer Sani, let's look into the refineries. Taking one of the points that came out from the meeting yesterday with the FG and organized labor, it says that a joint visitation, that I believe will be with the NL organized labor and the federal government, to be made to refineries to ascertain their rehabilitation status. We have refineries, at least we have 3 major refineries, one in Lagos, one in Kaduna, one in Port Harcourt, and I think one in Warri. What can be done? Yes, Dangote is coming up. It's lovely, good idea, wonderful. But what can be done? We need to get these refineries running, as you keep on saying, to increase our GDP and maybe reduce our reliance on, forex and all that. What exactly can be done, and what are we expecting from this visit when they take it, if eventually they do take it?
Jamboree. I say 3 times. It's a jamboree. Because what the government needs to do is
to show. Why would you say the jamboree, engineer?
You have people that you have put in charge of this.
Why would you call it a jamboree? Because I want to believe that, people didn't sit all through the night to then go and do jamboree. They sat down for long hours to have this meeting and came out with this point. So why would you be calling it a jamboree?
Jamboree, yes. A jamboree, because people that were responsible for putting us where we are today are not touched. Nobody has said anything about them. You can't be so irresponsible as a government and think that you will fool people all the time. What have you done to those who have put us where we are today? Are they spirits? They are Nigerians. Discipline them. Show seriousness. It's not visiting the refineries. How many times have we got to visit the refineries? How many times have you seen ministers or what have you running all over the swamps? That they are trying to stop crude oil theft, which is even increasing by the day, because the people that are involved are not touched. There seems to be scared, the sacred cows. Wait and see what will happen. People have have stolen billions of dollars of our money, and nothing has happened to them. And you say you are taking people to go and visit what? How many times are we going to go to town around the tenants? What have we gotten out of it, for God's sake?
Engineer, I'm really, I can see that our spirits are getting a bit high. So let's move away from that conversation and let's move into another conversation. We're very, really pressed for time. So maybe just you could round it up for me briefly. And it's about the issue of wholesale gas supply license that was issued to Uhuru Trading Limited by the federal government under the Petroleum Industry Act. Now, the story, I'm going to just summarize a bit. It says that the government has issued the first wholesale gas supply license for 500 million standard cubic feet of gas per day to an indigenous firm to deepen gas utilization across the country. Briefly, what do you make of that and how does this help us?
You see, I don't like the arbitrariness by which this very important sector of the economy is treated by us. I mean, the government of the day, or the government even before this government. We need to have a gas policy. You know, what is our gas policy, national gas policy? Gas has become something that is so important to the global energy economy, you know, today. And we are still doing a kind of cherry picking, you know, that we give 500,000 cubic feet of gas license to this. What is our gas policy really? You know, what is it? The national gas policy that shows that you want to ensure that your domestic economy is adequately supply with this gas so that your GDP can grow, because if you can make it possible for the industries like the AKK that was started, you know, where are we? You know, the northern economy would have been something that is will experience boost if we were serious as a country. That project should have been completed by now. It started since the time of, I don't know, was it Yaradua or what? You know, it has not been done. So we should be able to pipe all our industries, you know, with gas so that they can satisfy your domestic economy, so that you will be able to meet up with the demand of this economy. Now, I don't have anything against anybody being given license for whatever, but we must have a consistent policy that will ensure that in very, very short period of time, we as a nation begin to experience the benefits of what God has given to us in terms of gas. You know, we're a gas country. If you look at in terms of reserve, you know, not even the crude oil. So,
all right, engineer, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Time has told us it's time for us to leave. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time here with us on Business Daily this morning. It's been a pleasure having you. And that's the much we have for you on Business Daily today. Please do stay tuned for more of our programs. For more, you can join us on our YouTube live stream and follow us on all our social media handles. Same time, same place tomorrow. I am Chiamaka. Wonderful. Please do stay safe and spend wisely.